Yeah, we are live. There's rumors going around that we're live, but
Yeah, it looks like we're live,
nothing.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is up, people? The internet, it is me, Real American, back in with a new stream. And that is right, we are live on this beautiful April 28th, 2025. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm having a great day myself.
Canadian election day. Hello, and it's also
Yay.
India-Pakistan war day because evidently, where India's going to attack any minute. That's what we're
Yep,
told.
that's what we heard.
Joe Wilson also in a bill or something about Pakistan.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Joe
did you see
Wilson wants us. There's this guy who's in jail in Pakistan right now, and we're supposed to want him to get freed. It's this stupid thing.
Gosh.
How about we just don't monkey around? It's none of our business. I don't know why the stupid Southern war hawks every 2 seconds have to. There'll be a conflict halfway around the world that has no effect on us, and these like randos will be like, "We have to free this political figure who's in jail in Pakistan."
Yeah,
It's
no
like
one ever
nobody
heard of this
cares.
person like 5 minutes ago.
This is by the way, this was the ULI guy from like 2009.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something,
that's right. I forgot about that.
from South Carolina.
All right, now before we get into it,
Joseph
guys,
Wilson.
don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel. These are all great ways to support the daily content. And if you have any
If you don't
questions,
like and subscribe, I'm gonna come to your house, or Rap will come to your
oh
house.
gosh,
Or someone
if you have
else.
any questions,
Your mind's
concerns, or want to support the channel even further, best way is sending super chats via the chat. Again, I read through as much of chat as possible, but usually super chats, best way your questions answered. Mike for 2, late labor politics. Thank you. All right, so we do got a lot of news. I guess we got to start with the India stuff because that's kind of the big story of the day. So
Look at that! I'm eating Indian food right now, right?
are you
Eating some up.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. But yeah, so apparently the Pakistan defense minister says that a military incursion by India is about to happen. All right. So are we actually in a war between Pakistan and India?
Oh, no.
Well,
Yeah.
I know Modi was telling like the Pakistani citizens in India to flee the country. So
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, I just realized John is here. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the stream, good sir. But yeah, so Pakistan and India, you know, I'm rooting for nobody. Listen.
No, but Rap, you got to do the TikTok dances to help Pakistan fight
gosh.
India.
You know, my honest take is like, listen, unless nukes start flying, that's the main concern with this. You know, they both got, I think, the same amount of nukes, right?
They probably will, knowing these two countries.
That's a scary part. It's like
enough to end the world to get one up on each other.
yeah. So that is the one concern, and that I'm hoping Trump gets like a deal done, like a peace settlement. But outside of that, I honestly don't care. I'm sorry, I don't really care about this war. Just it's literally nothing's ever gonna happen. All right, but something might actually happen this time. Remind them nothing ever happens. Well, yeah, that's like what everyone's betting on. Nothing ever happens. You know?
Yeah, there was an article from Connected to India that came out yesterday, and it was the Pakistani minister warning India, quote, all 130 nuclear missiles targeted at you.
Great.
Big talk from a country that none of us expect to actually launch nukes. So
all right,
yeah, and remember both countries have nukes. So
yeah, it's good. That's what people are worried about. They both got nukes.
I think it's like 1/4 of all nukes in the world are directly on the border of those two countries.
That's a great idea. What's the worst that can happen? And they hate each other. Right. Mike for 5. I hope they don't nuke each other because I don't want that fallout cloud stinking up the U.S. Oh gosh.
I don't think.
Well, no, Mike is actually making a good point. I know it sounds kind of memey, but based off of like the wind trajectory, there's a lot of maps that say that potential nuclear fallout in the subcontinent would actually come right over the continental United States. So we don't actually. He's like actually saying a legitimate thing. We don't want that.
Ah. Okay.
No, but China would get cooked, and like all of Asia, it would be over, dude. Like we would get hit a little bad, but like imagine how bad it'd be for like everyone else. Like holy fuck, dude.
Literally that Family Guy clip. Which one? The one that they eat the Indian food and the guy like pukes? Is the one you're talking about?
No, Indian food is good. I will die on this hill. You know, we might not like them. We might not like them all coming in with like H1Bs, but they make good food. I will say that.
Right.
That's one positive.
Let's see here. Pakistan's going to war with Afghanistan as well. Really? What's Pakistan cooking? All right. K-Cub for 5. You see the memes. Vance touches trophy, trophy breaks. Vance beats a pope, pope dies. Vance visits India, India-Pakistan war. He visits China next. You know, that might be the secret weapon. He's going to meet in China and they just fall apart. I don't know. It just...
Wait, what's he gonna do next time he comes back to the White House? I'm concerned.
Yeah, you know what? Just don't go back to the White House.
Keep him at the VP residence.
Yeah,
You know,
keep him far away from the White House. All right. China just sitting back.
I did. There was like an F Mary Kill meme of the Vance that I saw.
Which
a while
one?
back. It was like F the couch, marry Usha, and then kill the Pope.
Okay, I'll be back in like 30 minutes or so. I'm not 30 minutes, in like 10 minutes. I'm just gonna eat my lunch, and then yeah, when I'm back, I'll be ready to talk about Canada.
All right. Hopefully he visits Soros. I mean,
you probably want. Well, George is probably powerless now, but Alex is the
maybe.
Alex
But yeah, so we do a lot to talk about because there was a lot of stuff that did happen over the weekend, and kind of the big thing that happened last night is what Pritzker said. You guys hear about this?
Yeah, he says the Republicans shouldn't have no moment of peace. So
yeah, he's literally calling for like violence at this point. I'm not even kidding, by the way. Let me pull this up. Where is it?
You
Right
know,
here.
the sad thing is that this is the kind of rhetoric that the Democrat base wants.
Oh yeah, that's the sad part about this. It's not just like they're doing it because, you know, oh well, they believe this stuff. But the only reason they're doing it is their voters want this. I mean, J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, he is saying we need mass protests, disruption. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. And I think he said that they're going to end up like, I think he said that Trump's administration is going to end up in jail or something. It's like, what? Let me pull this up, because that's what I thought he said. Pritzker. Tyrant. I gotta find
By the way,
it.
if Democrats take back the House, they're going to be impeaching Trump like every fucking week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so J.B. Pritzker likened them to tyrants and traitors. The Trump supporters. You know, and this is why we cannot allow Democrats ever win. Like, listen, I don't care who you are. Can you imagine a Democrat in the White House now? Just any of them. Can you think of one sane Democrat that can win the primary? Can anyone name one?
Jared Golden, I guess. I don't know, but that's...
He never win a
He
primary.
wouldn't win a national primary. Yeah, he wouldn't win a national primary.
Yeah, he would never win a national primary. This is what's scary about
He
this.
may not even win a main. He may not even win a main primary.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the sad part about it. He is like the only. Well, there's a couple of Democrats that are kind of like they have half a brain, but
I guess like I'm a Garrett Wallace probably. Like
I don't know. It's like you can't name anybody. Josh Shapiro. Well, Josh Shapiro, I don't know. He can't win a primary. That's a problem.
Charlie Kirk. There was an interview with Charlie Kirk on some podcast, and he was asked about which Democrats would probably be the hardest to beat. One of them that he said was Andy Beshear if he ran a populist campaign.
Yeah, but he's
and
just
that
a
was basically
resist lib. That's what he is.
And he said that Josh Shapiro wouldn't win because he's too dorky.
No, Josh Shapiro wouldn't win the primary because, well, you know, everyone knows why. So, all right, General Hydra for 2. Is the election of Canada today or tomorrow? It's today. So
Yep, technically tonight when the polls close.
Yeah, but we'll get to Canada when Luke gets back. But anyways,
we will not be live because Rap doesn't want to. And,
I don't even, because we all know what's gonna happen. It's like we all know the results.
Also, I think there's like supposed to be like a tornado outbreak in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa today. So
fun.
Keep them in your prayers.
K-Cup for 2. Pritzker Evers need to be recalled immediately. I agree. I think Evers should be thrown in jail for what he did. Like, unironically.
Well,
He
know,
should, but remember that nobody's above the law unless you're a Democrat.
and I try to avoid saying this because it's a really cringy thing that neocons say, but I've been thinking about it recently. A lot of these governors and people in charge of states, these Democrats are behaving in a neo-Confederate manner. And what I mean when I say that is explicitly they're trying to push for protest against the central government in a way that that essentially is rebellious. And so I don't agree with anything these neocons are saying, but in a way, the added layers of violence, calls for active violence, make this extremely dangerous, and in a way, it makes them themselves kind of traitors to the country. And like I've been thinking this the whole time you've been talking. It's like it feels like they're just begging for a set Summer of Love 2.0.
They want it worse.
They want it so badly. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what I'm going to tell you is I would be deeply surprised if hundreds of millions of dollars hadn't have been dumped into it already, and I would be very surprised if they weren't
That-
begging for it.
th-
So I pray for no Summer of Love. I pray
think
for
so.
no violence this summer. But that is something that I just see them. They're begging for it.
It's
They're
going to be
begging for it.
My take is to be worse in 2020, like way worse, because they're actively calling for violence. Like, it's not just like, oh, we're doing this for George Floyd. It's like, no, they're just saying we're ran by a tyrant. He's a dictator. He wants to kill us all. He wants to deport everybody. We must rise up. That's what they're saying. And you're getting mentally ill people that actually believe it. So I think we're going to see something very bad happen. I don't want it to, obviously, but I think there's going to be a lot of violence the next couple months. It's going to get bad. And I'm hoping Trump's administration takes it seriously. You know, that's the one concern. I think they will, but anyways.
Well, right. I mean, like at the very least, in legal terms, I guess you could call this like calls and incitings of insurrection against the federal government. And so yeah, that is absolutely. We settled on that a long time ago that you can't do that. We settled that in George Washington's presidency, if you recall, the Whiskey Rebellion. So no, you can't do that.
All right, K-Cup for 2. Prince Governor to be recalled. I read that already. Jacopolical for 20. Canada's cooked. I think the Liberals will move to the center, and then NDP is going to get crushed. The Conservatives will probably get rid of Pierre after this and put a very old centrist establishment Conservative. That's probably what's going to happen. You know, they fucked up. That's his fault. You know, Poilievre couldn't keep his damn mouth shut, and now he's going to lose. So, Cherokee Bear for 2. It will be like if Harris actually won. Yeah. American Nerd for 10. People worried about war between India and Pakistan because while India will use as a last resort, Pakistan has stated that they're willing to use nukes if they feel it is necessary. Well, yeah, that's why people are concerned about it. It's like, what the hell is Pakistan going to do? Are they just going to say, fuck it, we ball, and just nuke India? So, Jacob Hawley for 20. You're also going to have the more centrist moderate Democrats like James Carville, who are very angry with the progressive win in the party. And he even said that they need to leave and create their own progressive woke party. Super broken. No, they're all in it. Like, James Carville, like, he's a hack, so I wouldn't trust the word he says, but... General Hydrogen for 2. I think the Canadian Conservatives will win tonight. I don't think so. I don't know how they can, but...
I will go on the record explicitly stating that I don't know how the election is going to go. I'm not saying who will win, but I'm going to very explicitly state I don't know. And the reason is because we had terrible polls in America. Maybe they have terrible polls in Canada. So
there's some bullshit ones out there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if we had Harris +6 in September across like 3 or 4 different pollsters, and then we come to like this election, and then they're saying it's like close between Carney and Poilievre, then it's not super surprising to me if the polls in Canada were in fact lying. So that's just my take. My take is I don't know. My take's I don't know.
Mike Dredd for 10. If Pierre wins, Trump should offer a good trade deal if he ends all the gun control, secures the border, and stops the globalist agenda in Canada. You know, if Pierre was smart, he would take that, but I don't think he will. So... do you think any recent trade agreements would be waiting to be announced on day 100? I don't know. The trade stuff we'll see. I mean, China's like full of shit. They keep lying. I mean, it's like, guys, China's lying. All right, they say we never talked to Trump once. They're full of crap. So,
Well, there's a bigger story with that, which has been unfolding over the past week, which is the relief on, I think, about 130 separate categorical goods that China has exempted from
oh,
the
that's
tariffs.
right.
So there's that going on. And I've also heard on top of that rumors that they're not collecting import tariffs on specific goods, which is like continuing to facilitate trade into China. And that is extremely interesting to me. I think it kind of shows what kind of government runs China when they, put up a strong face in the international eye, but then when the goods actually enter their country, they're like, I just don't do the imports. Don't collect the tariffs. It shows a very genuine weakness that many pundits have refused to recognize in China's position here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with China. It's like they talk a big game, but in reality, they're not. They're spineless, especially against Trump.
Yeah.
If you just like stand your ground, they have to. Like, unless they're that dumb, which I don't think they are. It's like, why would they tariff that stuff 150%? It's like that's gonna blow up in their face. They can't sustain a trade war. And people are saying, well, they got a big economy. Yeah, because they export everything. They need America's economy. They can't just export it to Europe or whatever. Does anyone think Europe can buy more stuff? Like, unironically, they can't. So I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. So
Yeah, I think they can buy a little bit more from Canada, but it's to their detriment. Like it's diminishing returns the more and more they agree to buy from China. And it just gets really bad the longer you look at it. The feasible picture for China's future has to come down to them agreeing to do something with Trump, and it looks like they're going to have to do that quietly instead of openly. I would rather they just tell the world, "Hey guys, we're going to do a deal with Trump. Everybody remain
they
calm.
have too much
We're
pride.
going to fix this." They have too much pride, and that pride is actually what is harming the international community, as you may call it. And I in many ways I dislike it because I just dislike this posturing from China, but I do like it in the sense that it really does show who they are, doesn't it? It shows who China is, and they are the bad actors. And that was Trump's point in all of this tariff gameplay when he, shifts the tariffs to just China. He's showing everyone, listen, these are the primary bad actors on the world stage. There are other people who cheat. There's other people who dump. There's other people who do currency manipulation, all these things that China does. China is the worst actor, and they're not really doing a lot to help their case right now.
All right. I'm Thomas Baker for 5. If Americans voted to endorse Breathe in Air, 50% of Canadians would. Oh my gosh. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like that's Canada. If America does something now, it's like they have Trump derangement syndrome. So yeah, you're not wrong. Thanks to super chat, just I can't.
Well, no, there's a deep point in that I want to like pull out, which is just that if your national identity is fixated on opposition, there's other countries in the world where their national identity has no real basis in reality. Like their figures are fake, their museums are fake, like they make up history so that they feel better about themselves. Listen, if your entire national identity is stemmed in not being another country, that's not good enough. You need to have values. You need to have virtues. It's the same for the Republican Party. You need to have actual values. But yeah, no, if you try to live in permanent opposition to something else, you will die. You will croak up and die. And that could be the story of tonight's election in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, just like they're dumb. I mean, like, listen, I understand, like, it's one thing to say that some people got upset with Trump when they want somebody to stand up to him or something. That's one thing, but to commit, like you're committing suicide for your country by voting the Liberals in again. I mean, you really want Justin Trudeau for more years? That's what you're getting. Now, Carney's trying to pretend, oh, I'm a real moderate, but if you vote Carney, you're just voting for more Trudeau. So, Jacob Hawley for 20. If protest gets bad, I think the camel's back will be broken. The Insurrection Act must be enacted. If Democratic governors push back and refuse, I think we're looking at a civil war and insurrection. I don't see an off-ramp. Well, that's the concern. That's what I'm worried about. I think Trump should enact the Insurrection Act like now, based on what Democrats are doing right now. I mean, they're going around and saying we got to have more violence, and they're already saying we got to deal with Musk. So that's my take. I think it's time to enact the Insurrection Act, which has it ever been enacted? Or when was the last time it was actually enforced or whatever? Anyone know? I'm actually curious about that. Because Trump did not use it, I don't think. Yeah, he didn't. When was the
It was
last?
actually invoked in 1992 during the Los Angeles riots.
Oh, that's right.
George H.W. did it,
That's right.
and then he lost an election.
Yeah.
But I mean that doesn't apply to this situation because I truly believe Trump's not going to run again. But yeah, I just like popped that in there. He used it, and then Bill Clinton became president, not by a wide margin though. I would say 1992 election was really messy. So
Yeah, with that's like so. Yeah, it's been used a couple times. Mostly I think for some like hurricanes and stuff. I think it was used. So
yeah.
But yeah, I forgot about the riots in '92. Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. A judge will block it properly. Oh yeah, they will. They'll be like, oh, you can't use the Insurrection Act. Meanwhile, these same people wanted them to use it against Trump, like Biden. And they'll be like, no, you can't use the Insurrection Act.
Well, again, why care what these people say when they've been openly saying for weeks now, like both online and on television, the only good Democrat that can become president next one is the one that promises to put in prison everybody from the previous administration. That's what they've been saying. If you don't put every single person in the Trump administration in prison, I won't vote for you.
All right, K-Cut for 5. I know we talked about Wisconsin becoming blue, but do you guys think, given everything, is Evers hurting the Democrats here with bad policy statements? Oh, I think that was a dumb thing, what he did. I think that was stupid. And I really believe if they really go ahead and, like, say, you know, we gotta storm the freaking place that she's held in, which, again, they're protesting right now. It's nuts. But I think Evers, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish. I don't know if he's going senile. I don't know. But I don't know what Democrats were thinking. The judge literally broke the law. She broke the law, and they're defending her? And now there's a bunch of other judges in Wisconsin. They're saying, we're not going to do any court things. We're not going to uphold the law. We're not going to work with any officials. It's like, what? It's just nuts. It's utter insanity what's happening, but I'm not surprised. I've been telling people for years, the left in Wisconsin are some of the most radical people in America. I've said this for many years. It's not... What?
So is that basically going to throw people in prison if they work with ICE?
Yeah. That's basically what they're threatening to do. So, it's nuts. I've been trying to tell people for years, the Democrat Party of Wisconsin is one of the most radical in America. They are. The only reason it's not talked about is because they never have power. Well, now they're getting power. Look what's happening. These people worse than... they're batshit crazy. Jacob Hawley for 5. Can a judge even strike down a president invoking the Insurrection Act? They're going to try. I mean, they try to dictate military policy, but... yeah. The left of the West Coast is crazier. I don't know, but...
Did you see Trump's tweet this morning about the Canadian elections?
Yeah, let me pull this up.
That's good. That's good. Everybody should hear that.
Good luck to the great people of Canada. Elect a man who has the strength and wisdom.
Still back.
Oh my gosh. Cut your taxes in half. Increase your military power for free to the highest level in the world. Have your car, steel, aluminum, lumber, energy, and other businesses quadrupled in size. If Canada becomes a cherished 51st states. Yeah, Canada's cooked. It's over.
Donald Trump thinks Canada is so cooked, he's telling the Canadian voters to vote for him in the election.
Well, I mean, like, at this point, I think
he endorsed Carney. He endorsed Carney, remember.
Oh, gosh. You know, at this point, I do think that, what's the one province in Canada that's probably going to secede?
Alberta?
Yeah.
It's not going to secede. That's like, it's not. Like, I know their premier is like pretty pro-America, but they're never going to secede. You could see like support currently is at like 15% in that province. Like maybe you could see it go up if when Carney wins, you might see it go up to like 30, but you're never going to see any provinces secede from Canada.
All right. Let's see. Oh great, Trump just ruined the chances of conservatives winning. Guys, that's bullshit. I'm getting sick of this argument so much.
Okay, dude, there's been so many fucking like Canadian conservatives who've come into my replies on Twitter and they've been like, "Thank you, MAGA. You guys ruined this election." I'm like, bro, I do not give a shit. Okay, if your candidate is so shitty he can't handle a new administration in America and a candidate switch, then like that's on you guys.
Yeah,
It's not on us.
That's like literally all he had to do was say, "Look, I'm gonna stand up for Canada, but you know, Carney is weak." That's I don't know what he was trying to accomplish.
Well, like when all these problems brewed up with the tariffs on Canada and the United States, all Polyev had to do was continue to say, "Listen, this is the failure of the liberal government. This is like they are actually they're just like hapless children, incapable of negotiating with a real world leader. And whether you like Donald Trump or not, he is a real world leader." And like that's all he had to say is like he just had to like point at the liberals and be like, look at these children flailing around crying. They have no idea how to fix this. They're saying that they're going to extend COVID era handouts, destroying the economy. So their solution to Trump tariffs is destroying the economy. Like that's if he had just used that rhetoric, would have hit so hard. But instead he was just like, oh yeah, we gotta fight against Trump too. Hoorah, Canada. And he fixated too much on, I guess, like what all Canadians are fixated on, which is like, what's up?
Stopping the Orange Man. That's literally all he talked
Yeah, stopping the Orange Man. Like I said, they believe Canadian identity is in some way entrenched in not being American, and it would have been nice for a potential Canadian leader to just be like, actually, you know what? Canada is its own thing, and we're not based off the premise of just hating America every once in a while. Like that. What if that was your position, Polyev? What if you just like had the balls to say like, oh yeah, Canada's identity is more than anti-Americanism?
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm hearing people in chat saying that this is Trump's fault. Guys, when did Trump first say we gotta annex Canada? Anyone know?
Wasn't that like
right after he won, and the conservatives were leading until the candidate switched.
Yeah,
that was their issue.
I'm pulling this up now. I'm getting
Pierre
sick of these
did not know how to handle a candidate switch. That is what caused this largely. Like Trudeau didn't even really gain after the tariffs. I know Trudeau was unpopular, but it's a fact. Pierre had no plan to deal with a candidate switch. When Carney got in and on day one ditched the carbon tax, Pierre's argument went from the liberals are the party of the carbon tax to, oh, if Carney wins, he's just going to put it back in place again. Nobody believes that when he just fucking got rid of it. Maybe he will bring it back in place.
Yeah.
But the point is that people don't care. He had no argument. He was running against Trudeau. It's basically the same thing that would have happened had DeSantis been our nominee. I think DeSantis would have not been able to handle it.
So,
because Pierre is literally Canada's DeSantis. Like, I don't know how. He's as unlikable as him. He's got, like, the same personality. He's, like, autistic. Like, he's the exact same person as DeSantis, just Canada.
So, I got the polling right here, okay? So, Trump announced this in, yes, it was the middle of December. He first suggested the idea of we gotta annex Canada. That's what he said. Okay, that's what happened. And the polling did not change at all. Conservatives stayed at roughly 45%. But then Justin Trudeau got out of there, and that's when they slowly started to pick up steam, all right? Mm-hmm. And then, when Carney was elected, that's when they took the lead. This bullshit idea that, it's the Trump stuff. Why did it happen in December?
No, and like, here's another thing that Polyev could have said. Listen, some of the things that Trump's base tariffs against Canada are premised on are part of the Conservative Party platform, like, more border security, more defense, like getting rid of the drugs. And if he's already like campaigned on the premise that the drugs are bad for Canada, then instead of like just taking.
He didn't mention immigration in the campaign until today as the last.
No. I'm not. No, not immigration, but he was specifically talking about the drug flow. He was talking about the drug flow and wanting to increase security. So more about security rather than immigration. He's a bit terrible on immigration.
All right.
But like What my point is there's multiple things in his platform he could have said. There's so many things Poilievre could have said. He chose the worst possible thing. He chose to imitate the Liberal Party, and he showed his weakness in that. It was terrible. I think Luke's right. He couldn't handle the
And
candidate
you want to
switch.
know another thing too? I will say this is more on the local level, but even when it came down to candidate selection, I've got some friends who are in Canada and know a lot and follow Canada a lot, but they were telling me about this, that there were so many races in like the House of Commons that could have been easy conservative pickups, like easy pickups for them. But Pierre will knowingly cast out good candidates who could have won these seats because they thought they were going to win big anyway. And then he just handpicked people that would be easier for him to control if he became prime minister. That's what happened.
All right.
And you're actually seeing one of them now, Mike de Jong, who is pissed at them. So he decided to run as an independent in I think it's Abbotsford in British Columbia, but you're seeing a lot of this. That's another thing. So Pierre has just made error after error after error in this campaign. He was predicating the entire campaign on the fact the polls wouldn't change, there wouldn't be a candidate switch, and now that there is a candidate switch and the polls have changed, he has nothing. He has like no way to win this.
Catch up with super chats. American Nerd for 5. Rap, didn't Ike use the Insurrection Act to send the 101st Airborne to Little Rock in 1957 to enforce integration? Oh yeah, he did. I don't think that was the Insurrection Act, though. It might have been, I don't know, but... McGlitch Evie for 5. Was just talking on Discord with my Italian friend. What did I miss? Talking with Canada. Jacob Holly for 10. Canadian law also prohibits secession of provinces. If a province wants to leave, they have to ask the federal government, and every other province must agree. Canada is Chinese now, cooked. That's true. K-Cup for 2. If Trump is so bad, why'd he win twice? We'll get to that in a second, because I'm getting sick of some of these people. Jacob Holly for 10. Carney did not get rid of the carbon tax. He just used emergency powers to reduce the carbon tax percentage to 0. It's still a tax law in the books, so Carney could just increase back after he wins. Yeah, but he was smart to get rid of it. Because he knows it's popular. He's like, oh, it's 0%, everybody. I got rid of it. Vote for me.
But I do have some information for that person who asked you about the Insurrection Act. Eisenhower did not have to use the Insurrection Act in 1957 to horribly desegregate Central High School. It was because he had the constitutional authority to enforce federal court orders. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954, gave him the authority to do that.
All right. Dillybot for 10. Both candidates are cut from the same cloth. There's no true conservative party in Canada. Yeah. And the sad part is I had hopes for Pierre. I had hopes for him. He originally was running a good campaign, but then he just went to shit.
Like let me tell you, I've watched a few hours of Poilievre explain who he is himself.
I pity you,
what
John.
what I'll say about Poilievre, we have so many complaints about him. We have so many criticisms of him. He could have done things. He might, because I don't know who's going to win. He might have been able to do things to help the economy, not long term, but short term. He could have improved the economy drastically. But it's really hard to say that they aren't cut from the same cloth when you look at the banking experience of Mark Carney. He's really deeply entrenched in these financial systems. But what I will say, the main thing is, Poilievre's just kind of standard box, like completely cucked conservative. Like that's kind of the box that Poilievre's in. Mark Carney's just insane. He's an actually insane person. If you go read his book, he is a freaking insane person, and he believes it's like the global homo thing is his religion, and he believes it to his like the fullness of his heart. He thinks that those are the actual values of Western civilization, and I'm just going to tell you this, don't be surprised if Mark Carney becomes prime minister and things get even more radical, because that dude, he may be Machiavellian. He might decide to run centrist like Keir Starmer in the UK, but like on a personal basis, freaking insane person. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, it's just batshit crazy. Carney is not good. He's like, listen, if Canada votes for that, that's their fault. So they've been warned. So good luck with that.
But he said we're like a British cultural identity. He said we're like Anglo-Saxon civilization. Oh my gosh, he catered to me, bro. He thinks Anglo-Saxon civilization is like importing 8 bajillion Indians into your country, and he thinks that Anglo-Saxon civilization is like basically not having countries in the first place. Like that's what he thinks that is.
All right. American Nerd for 5. Wrap after tonight. The Canada might need some old-fashioned regime change for the CIA, for democracy. Canada's so cooked at this point, it's not even worth it. Correct mode for 5. Do you think Trump's tweet is a 4D chess move to appeal to Alberta after the election? It would be funny, but we'll see. It would be funny.
Also, I will say to some people, I haven't been reading chat, but if anyone is supporting the joke of a party that is the PPC, there's literally no reason to support them.
Yeah,
Maxime Bernier himself is a massive fraud who was one of the more liberal members of the Conservative Party, but just pivoted to like this right-wing populist stuff after he lost his leadership race because he knew that was the only way he could start a party and win.
Yes.
But like he was one of the first members of parliament to attend pride parades, even before a lot of liberals did. So
yeah,
Bernier is.
Yeah, but again, I'm looking at the polling again for Canada, guys. Because people in chat are still going on. I literally could show everyone the polling from December. All right, it did not change at all. It stayed the exact same until Trudeau dropped out. That's when things went to shit.
And I would say too, if anyone is in Canada, I would encourage them to vote Conservative, not out of them being like this great party. I just say
lesser two
you're
evils.
probably better off with the Conservatives. There's no you don't want to risk another 4 years.
The economy will do a little bit better if Poilievre's in charge than it will if Carney's in charge. That's like that's the thing you're getting.
Lower immigration, but again, you don't want to risk.
Rav doesn't understand that giving the dying liberals the opportunity to put a nationalist defense of their country is what the electorate perceives. Why do the Conservatives do that?
By the way, Raph, speaking of Poilievre, did you see what he tweeted?
What did he tweet now?
President Trump, stay out of our election, blah, 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 blah.
Are you freaking serious? Let me pull this up.
Well, what did you... Well, that makes sense that he tweet that out. Like, Trump is super...
Yeah, I think Trump has like 80%.
Yeah, you shouldn't get mad at that. That's just like...
Whatever.
That's politics.
Breaking... Hold on. Chad is saying there's reports of heavy fire at the, between India and Pakistan. Is that real?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
People were saying that. And Nari for 5. People fussed over Trump in the blue suit at Pope's funeral. Desperation plus slow news day. That whole thing was, guys. There's a bunch of people wearing blue suits. Who cares? Trump was ultra unpopular in Canada. Yeah, but we literally went over this on stream. I forgot which poll it was. They literally pulled this. And there's only one voter block that cares about Trump as an issue. Old people. We went over this on stream.
But still, there's Pierre going out there and saying Trump stay out of our election. That's not that's what he would do. Like, that's not something that's not going to cost him any votes or anything.
Oh no, I'm not saying it would, but I just think that the whole messaging was bad. That's what I meant.
Also, there's a tweet I sent about the internet users by country. I thought this was interesting.
I saw that.
India's second in the world now. No wonder we have so many scammers.
It's gonna get even worse. American
the top 5? Yeah, top 5 here. There's China, India, USA, Indonesia, and Brazil.
American Earth for 5. Do you think that a weakened liberal Canadian government could work in Trump's favor? And it would be easier for Trump to treat them as a doormat? Maybe.
Yeah. No, I think that's the premise of Carney winning for me. It's my hope is that Carney doesn't run or govern like Carney would ever run. He just governs extremely Machiavellian, and in order to do that, he has to basically do whatever Trump tells him to. That's the ideal for the United States, not for Canada, but for the United States. Our ideal is Carney just becoming a doormat for Trump.
Let's see. Jacob Holly for 5. It's true there are Pakistani jets flying towards Bombay. I've not seen anything about that. Pakistan.
I'm seeing from random accounts that I do not trust at all reports multiple Pakistani army helicopters were seen flying in Pakistani Punjab. And look, I'm not saying it's fake, but I'm saying there's a high chance it is fake. And also just on its base premise, people can reuse footage from years ago and pretend it's today. That's the biggest thing with war footage nowadays is people using stuff from months or years ago and then saying it is. So there may be until I see major news outlets reporting on it, I'm not gonna believe there's something going on right now.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Man Milk for 2. Caps to beat Habs 5-2. America defeats Canadians. That's real. Dillybot for 10. The Enforcer on YouTube's reporting it. He's also reporting that Trump needs to stop diplomacy and attack Iran. Well, just ignore that then, because I'm not seeing
The
anything
Enforcer.
else.
The Enforcer on YouTube.
Oh, something else. We have a congressional retirement.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it's Gary Connolly in Virginia's, I believe, 11th district.
He has
Very safe, extremely safe Democratic. It's like
yeah, I think he had
probably
cancer
like
or something.
yeah, I think it's like a D plus like 60 district. It's Arlington, Virginia. So
All
or
right.
actually not Arlington. It's Fairfax and Reston. So
Let's see. American Nerd for 5. India and Pakistan have started shooting at each other. Me quoting Theoden from Lord of the Rings. So it begins. Yeah, it's so it begins. Mike Finn for 5. Carney winning means a Canadian question will be determined in 20 years instead of 40.
Yeah, I mean that's the way a lot of us see it. It's like Polyev's more of like the timeline gets expanded. Maybe like Canada lasts another 10, 20 years as a country. You know, that's the way I see it. I definitely see it that way, Mike.
Canada does not get much more time left. Unless they completely reverse course, which is that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Canada, you're screwed. I mean, you had your chance. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, the conservatives suck, but I don't know. The Enforcer are the real life embodiment of Holden Bloodfest.
other news, we have a poll from New York.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was only
It's
Hochul plus 6.
Hochul plus 6 against Stefanik, Hochul plus 7 against Lawler, Hochul plus 8 against Blakeman.
Oof.
Okay, and here's what I'll say with that. The fact that Blakeman is only down 8, I know he's technically polling the worst right now. He is a county executive, so the fact he's already polling that good is probably why we should run him. I think, too, he's also, like, kind of distanced from the federal party a bit, like, as a county executive. And I think especially Stefanik would probably not be the best idea, just given how close she was to Trump. And Lawler's in Congress and voted with Trump a lot. I think Blakeman's probably the best person to go for. And he's from the part of the state that, like, we're gaining the most in, that being, like, Long Island. So I think Blakeman's the guy we should probably run. Presuming he wins re-election this year, which he probably will, given that county. I think it's Nassau. Yeah, Nassau is, like, shifting heavily right.
The other thing is Lawler's still in a Harris seat. I mean, it's a narrow Harris seat, but given it's a Harris seat, and it would probably go blue without him in the next year's midterm. So
Jacob Hawley for 10. Exclusive Pakistan defense minister says military encouraged by India is imminent. Yeah, we saw that. Modi says he's going to the U.S. for help, and Pakistan's foreign minister said he's going to China for help. Oh, fun. Have fun. Have fun with that one.
Another 20
new
trillion
proxy war.
Yay.
We need to update that meme. Another 20 trillion to India.
Oh my gosh, I just realized like the political divide of this war is even more like toxic than the. Well, actually, no. I think honestly everyone's ready for both sides to lose.
Wait, no, Rap. I did see. Give me a sec. There was a there was like a political chart. I'll pull it up in a minute. You guys can keep talking.
All right,
but...
Mike for 2. Alberta has more in common with the U.S. than Canada.
No, and he's actually in terms of like who settled there, who's been there, and even after like they've had some like in their major cities they've had immigration. Like Alberta, in its like bones, is actually more closely related to the people south of them than they are the people east of them. That's actually something that's been proven over the centuries. It's they really are.
American Nerd for 2. How would a Canadian Civil War go, you think? Everyone loses. So that's what would happen. Everyone just loses. So it's a pity both sides can't lose. Yeah, I don't think anyone's rooting for anybody, honestly.
I do like a lot of people. I have some friends in Western Canada, not in British Columbia, obviously, but Saskatchewan, Alberta. There are some like amazing people there that kind of live lives very similar to rural farmers in Montana, Idaho. It's a very similar cut of jib that you see there, especially in the rural areas.
All right. Let's see. There's a Rockland County-based state senator that could hold that seat if Lawler leaves it. I think Lawler's not going to run for governor now. I would have wanted him to, but it looks like it's going to be Stefanik or somebody else. American Art for 3. Didn't we used to be allies with Pakistan years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we sided with them in a trade war against Israel.
It used to
Long
be
time
like
ago.
towards the second half of the Cold War, like after the Nixon stuff, for a while we had this like weird coalition where the US would like kind of tend to support like Pakistan and China after the Sino-Soviet split. So then like Russia and India kind of had their own block in the region.
That's the Cold War for you. I love it.
Yeah, India and Russia almost always love each other, like pretty much. Like that's an alliance that's probably never going to go anywhere.
So anyways, speaking of that, I do want to talk about one thing that's kind of maybe a bit annoyed the past couple of days because I'm getting sick of some of these people. So there's been this push lately by the polls to claim that Trump is at -20. He's losing over his voters. Right? Everyone's seen the poll by now. I think it was it Reuters? Wasn't it? Yeah, Reuters,
Yeah,
the
it's
New York Times.
Yeah, it's down by like 20 in like a New York. I think it was the New York Times or was it something else?
I
don't
thought
know.
it was ABC News or Washington Post. One of they're all shitty, and they were claiming Trump is at -20. Half of his base hates him, and Democrats have a blue wave. And now people are saying you're coping so hard. It's like, first of all, I've said repeatedly the past couple weeks, I think he's below water right now. In fact, let me look up America First Insight. You know, the group that I helped. Well, let's see what they have.
He is underwater.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he is underwater.
The model that
I will say though, all of the state polls where like what UNH says and what like New York State, what like polls in New York State, like all these states, if you look at the polls, they indicate Trump's approval is about like 4 points less popular than the 2024 election result, which means he's probably, according to those state polls nationally, he'd be underwater by like 2.
Yeah.
But I think it might be a little bit more than that. But like UNH in New Hampshire, as of last week, he was only -6 in New Hampshire of all places, you know? So I don't really think it's like some blue. I don't think he's underwater by like anywhere close to 20. Probably closer to 10 than even, but it's definitely not over 10.
No, I would listen. According to America First Insight, which people should go follow, we currently have a -1. That's it. Which again,
Oh yeah, and here's the chart. I found it.
Yeah.
It's very natural for a president to lower in points when you get out of the honeymoon phase at the start of their presidency. It's also natural for a president to lose points when the like situation like internationally is we haven't done our trade deals yet. We haven't done X, Y, and Z yet. Like there's a lot of things that will boost Trump's approval when he gets it done. We're just in the middle. We're in the middle of trying to resolve a war overseas. We're in the middle of trying to resolve the tariffs. Right now, all of that's in flux, and so I don't expect there to be good pollings. But here's something that Christian Hines said, good friend of mine. I'm just going to repeat it. Is he at -16? Almost certainly not. And more importantly, it doesn't really matter. Trump's approval rating was abysmal for most of his first term in office before COVID, and yet 2020 was as close as it was. And of course, some of us don't think it was a very good election. The guy is term limited. All this talk about approval ratings misses the point. He doesn't need to be wasting 4 years chasing thermostatic public opinion polls that are almost certainly bogus anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly how I feel about it.
Guys, like, listen, it's one thing that these polls are showing -2, which I think it's between even to like -4. That's my take. That's
also, I think the funny thing too is all these polls that have him absurdly underwater, with the exception of Fox, only show Dems up in the generic ballot by like 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Like Fox had like D+7, but like I think that's just Fox being Fox.
RCP has a disapprove +7.
Yeah, but like
But I think the generic ballot on RCP.
Look at who's in there. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
But I think also RCP's generic ballot is like still D+1, and that's. I mean, I would say D+2 to 3 maybe is about what I'd expect. I think at this point, Democrats are probably going to take back the House, albeit barely. But
like,
I
let's
think
pull
there
this
is
up.
a shot we can win it. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is how Trump's doing right now with like the tariffs, with all that stuff. Like there's gonna be deals by the midterms. You're
Yeah,
not
this
gonna
is
see the stock market like being where it
and
is by the
the guys
midterms,
at
you know?
Quantus Insights, which again another group you guys should follow. They did a poll on this. All right, they did Trump's approval. I think it was like -2. I think it was. But the more important part was they asked a question about the Ukrainian war, and it was like 63% said if the war continues, it's Trump's fault. If the war ends, it's because of Trump. It's like 67% or whatever. So, like Luke was saying, it comes down to the trade deals and the war in Ukraine. If he gets those done, his numbers are going to skyrocket. So, that's what I'm hoping, which I'm not hoping for. I think that's what's going to happen. You know, I do think we're going to see his numbers. Yeah, they're going down a little bit, but guys, look at the polls that have him down by negative like 15. CNN, the New York Times, CBS, these polls suck. And before people saying, oh, 2024, they were better, do I remind people how bad they were in 2024?
Here's the issue with 24. They all towards the end hurted.
Exactly.
Let's not forget what happened, what it looked like in like September, where like ABC was consistently putting like Harris plus 6 to 7 popular vote polls. Like
Just pull this up. RCP. I got the state map here. All right. Okay, we got the state map right here. Let's start with Arizona. He won the state by roughly 5.5, right? Yeah. Won the state by roughly 5.5. The final polling average was under 3. He won Arizona by 5.5, but look at early or mid-October. It was plus 0.5. And in fact, the New York Times, take a guess what they had. Where's it at? Yeah. Shoot, where are you at? Oh, was it the New York Times? No, take a guess what Bloomberg had. Just take a guess. What was the Bloomberg poll in Arizona in the middle of September? Anyone know?
Wasn't it like D+12 or something?
D+3. Okay.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Okay.
Yeah, D+3. The New York Times.
Subs too.
In the middle of August, Harris +5. So this is what they did. They had all these bullshit polls early on, but then the last millisecond, they had this magical search. You can look at any state, any poll. Every shit pollster did this. And notice who the ones that didn't. Rasmussen, Alice Intel, Insider Advantage, Trafalgar, Richard Barris, the good pollsters. They did not herd. They showed Trump consistently ahead. This idea that Trump had a last-second surge is bullshit.
Yeah, the polls, like, look, I do, hey, what's up, guys? I do think that Trump's approval has gone down a bit,
yeah,
but the polls are bullshit. He's not -16.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I've been arguing it's like even of -5. That's my range right now. Which, that's kind of expected.
And you want to notice something, too?
What?
All of these polls that show him down 20 showed him losing like 50 points with young people since the election, too.
Well,
which is just like not true.
The New York Times.
Like you look at the people who are angry, the people who are at protests. We just had a big protest at the FBI building in Milwaukee here because of the judge thing. If these young people are the people who are the most pissed, who swung the most away, none of them none of them are caring about it. Like none of them care. It's all the boomers. And these polls also show like boomers actually moving right from November, like with the disapproval polls. It's like, you want to believe that? Like, no.
And I look more into it. The New York Times, you dig in the numbers, they hide it pretty good. But you can look into the poll. You gotta dig for it. And according to the New York Times, take a guess how much Harris won the young vote by in 2024 in the sample. They had like a Harris plus, it was like Trump -12 or whatever for his approval.
Mine's like 50 or something. I don't know.
40.
They had Harris winning the sample of young voters by 35 points.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
In 2024, according to Fox Voter Analysis, she won it by only 4. Gee, I wonder what's going on here.
This look, it's just a bunch of bull, and I really love the point, just that it doesn't matter. Like, you know, if you're worried about midterms and you're worried about the general election next time, even though it's not Trump that's going to be on the ballot, if you're worried about those things, what's going to matter is not the polls right now, but the polls after Trump secures major trade deals. Like when Trump secures with South Korea, Japan, India, you gotta look for the polls They might be very schizophrenic because you might have some very positive polls and then you might have some very negative polls at the same time because you have these people fooling around with the numbers. But that's when it's important to look at the polls. Look at the polls weeks or months after Trump solidifies all of these trade deals he's doing right now over the next 3 months. It's really that's going to have a big impact on what happens next year, not what's happening right now in the middle when everything's so uncertain and not everything's resolved and we don't know what's going on.
And
yeah.
These polls are using this as an excuse. Let's cut the bullshit. Remember 2024 when Harris was first picked as the nominee? She surged by 20 points. Remember that? I think everyone remembers that well. She surged by 20 points overnight.
Summer.
What?
I just made a joke about Brad Summer.
Yeah, Brad Summer. She surged 20 points overnight. She's winning 20% of Republican women.
And again, we literally knew these were fake. You know why? Because after the election, what's the dude's name? Shoot, I forgot his name. That dumb strategist who was like, shoot, what's his name? I forgot his name. But that dude came out after the election was like, by the way, Harris was never up in her internal.
Harville or
who was that? I should know that guy.
Yeah, I think it's
Dave Axelrod. He's pretty smart.
Yeah, Axelrod. That's who it was. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, the polling we had in private, which are more accurate, they spend millions of dollars on it. Yeah, we were actually down the entire time.
Yeah, they had been sampling over 100,000 people nationwide. I remember even at the DNC, he was on a panel and he was like, "Guys, don't get cocky. I know the public polls look good for us now, but like private polling is not good.
Yeah,
like for the nation nationwide."
That article. That's what Axelrod said. He admitted that, and these people were saying, "No, the polls actually had a last-second surge." No, these polls are bullshit. You had half the polls were good. They consistently had Trump ahead by like the same margin you won the states by, like Rasmussen. Again, people give them shit, but they were right. Same thing with Alice Intel, Insider Advantage, Trafalgar. They had Trump consistently ahead. Yeah, there might be some polls where instead of winning by 3 in Arizona, he wins it by 5 or whatever. It's like, there's stuff like that. But these polls had like Harris plus 6. So, yeah.
And, you know, I do want to kind of slightly change the subject, but it's tangentially related. What matters more than poll numbers? Whether or not Donald Trump is doing what he said he would do. And right now, the White House, as we're speaking, is briefing members of new media, some of which you guys like, some of which you guys really don't like. I don't care. The important part is that the White House is legitimately trying to push old media into its place in the back of the room. They're actually enforcing a new seating chart on the people that come to the White House press briefings, which means that the kind of questions that are asked of our White House are going to be more meaningful and constructive, and people are going to have a greater voice. We don't have to have everything filtered through these pieces of crap scumbags in the mainstream media that are making these fake polls to begin with. I think that's a wonderful step forward. You may not like individuals that they push forward in the new media, but the actual act of putting the old media in its place in the back and pushing them away is a really important step towards us getting more sane news coverage in this country. It's going to be really important for people's mental health too. I'm going to be honest.
I agree because when you hear CNN and MSNBC, just guys, if you want to like torture yourself for a couple hours, go watch MSNBC. Just go watch them for just a couple hours.
So all they're talking about now is about how Trump is like the most unpopular president in American history. That's the thing. They're saying he's the most unpopular ever for first 100 days.
Trump was literally
outside of Steve Kornacki, they're all insane on that channel. They're all batshit crazy. I don't know why he works there.
By the way, Steve Kornacki was covering the papal.
I saw that.
The papal election. You saw that. That was great.
Even this morning, I listened to the press briefing this morning because Tom Homan was there, and he was there to answer questions from the media. Well, here's the deal. So Tom Homan makes this brief, impassioned speech about everyone who suffers, both American and even non-American, from an open border. He talked about, the children that are abused. He talks about the drugs that kill people, and he talked about the women who are devastated, violated, and completely have their lives destroyed by this immigration, and even, of course, people who are sold into different forms of slavery, either forced labor or of a sexual nature. And he talked about all of this heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, terrible things. And he was like, this is what we're stopping. We save lives at that border every day by making it secure.
And
Can
before,
you guess? Can you guess what the first question was after Tom Homans made that big speech? They had one from a new media guy, and he was basically asking about the Insurrection Act. But the first mainstream media question after Tom Homan made that speech was, "Oh, what about Garcia? What about what about Maryland Man?"
And
That was the first question.
And you wonder why the mainstream media is dead. Guys, remember how that story was a big thing for a day? Remember that? I literally, I kind of forgot that even was a story, if I'm being honest. I kind of forgot that guy existed. It's as if... anyways, it's sad.
I think
They're not asking.
Maryland Man, I'm pretty sure Maryland Man disappeared because there was like the news story of like the 2-year-old being deported or something.
Oh yeah, and the people, that story's already going away because people looked into it and it's like, wait, the mother requested to have her kid with her. Which is like, wait,
Yeah,
I thought they want to give her a
children,
separation of stuff.
The children were not deported. The 7-year-old, the 3-year-old, and the 2-year-old from multiple mothers were not deported. They can return to I don't want them to, but they can return to the United States whenever they want with a parent or with a guardian, a legal guardian, and they can be U.S. citizens and live a U.S. citizen life. But their mothers decided these very young children should be with their mothers in their home country, the mother's home country. And honestly, if you think that that's wrong, then you are just a sick, messed up individual.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't know what to say about you.
Remember, they were against family separation. Remember that? Now they want it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you got to keep that families, guys. This is what, if you're talking about ethical, this was an ethical way to do it. It's like the mother wants to have her kids with her, and if she wants to bring them to America, she has have a legal guardian. That's all she has to do. And they're making a big deal about it, which is just insane. But anyways, got some super chats to read through. Let's see, Jacob Hawley for 20. Hold on. Am I reading this right? Yeah. Jacob Hawley for 20. Indian troops have apparently crossed the line of control, and gunfire started at multiple border checkpoints at the Pakistan-India border. India said it's cutting off water and suspending all flights over Pak territory. Yeah, that was a couple days ago. K-Cal for 2. Bush Jr., 90% approval. Don, Trump inflation. Oh, gosh. Logos plus lifestyle for 5. Breaking, Trump secures another win. IBM plans to invest $150 billion in the U.S. Really, IBM?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, IBM.
Christopher Gooden for 5. Zelensky refuses to end the war due to his arrogance. At what point is he going to realize I'm not winning under any circumstances? I think he might have. That meeting at the Vatican might have done something. We'll see. But
I have kind of a negative take on it, but I'm not gonna do a big speech. My whole point is, I think this is a big mess. I think both Zelensky and Putin are being deeply uncooperative, and I don't think Trump actually should be blamed for this if this war continues without his permission, because he put a reasonable peace deal on the table, and if they're not coming to the table for it, then honestly, screw these freaking people. I'm so sick and tired of the leadership in Ukraine and Russia.
Oh yeah, they're awful.
So I think too, to an extent as well, I think China, there has been reports like that they're like getting more directly involved on behalf of Russia now. And they might be doing that just to screw over Trump a bit because of the tariff situation. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if that's also happening.
All right. Jacob Hawley for 5. Breaking. Rod Blagojevich is considering a Senate run in Illinois. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Wait,
you didn't
what?
know that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm excited, man. No, because I think he's not going to win, obviously, but I think he'll get it closer than November. And I'm actually excited to get see what percent he'd get with the black vote, because he'd probably get like a higher percentage than like any Republicans gotten in Illinois in a while with that demographic. Like, I'm really excited to see what happens when he runs.
All right. Anyway.
Would he even win the primary though?
Well, oh yeah, he'll win the primary if Trump endorses him.
Yeah, if he runs for Republican, yeah. He's not gonna run as a Democrat, obviously, but I mean, it would be funny if he does, but
oh yeah, I mean, the Democrats already had their nominee because Duckworth also endorsed.
Yeah, he had said he's gonna run as a Republican.
So, anyways, I want to talk about something like someone mentioned yesterday, because you know how
also check out that Kresenstein tweet I just sent.
What?
Check out the Kresenstein tweet I sent.
What? Bruh. What?
That's like a Third Amendment violation.
Cherokee Bear for 2. Who's next to run? Joe Walsh? Oh gosh, Joe Walsh better not run. He's schizophrenic enough to do it, but we'll see. I will help hide illegal immigrants from Trump's illegal deportation of them to prisons. Oh my gosh, what? I'm not letting Nazi Germany. Okay, I'm getting sick of these people. Yeah, you know, can you imagine for a second being like,
Wait, is that the one who follows? But wait, no, never. His brother is the one who follows me.
okay, just seriously for a second. Can you imagine being somebody that their family survived the Holocaust and you keep having these people say Trump is Nazi Germany 2.0? You know, he's gonna put everyone in concentration camps. Isn't it just like insulting to the people that survived the horrors of the Holocaust? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
And you want to
absolutely.
know the funny thing about those two brothers too is they actually supported RFK initially.
bro. Like, go on, Tubbs.
Wait, I'm not speaking.
Oh, I thought you said something.
No, I just
Yeah.
said I was just agreeing with the point you were making.
The one thing I will say, if you need if you're worried about Ed Krasenstein potentially engaging in federal crimes, tips.fbi.gov. It's a beautiful website. Beautiful website, guys.
By the way, Rep, I did interrupt you. So what were you gonna say before?
What?
What were you gonna say before I brought up the Krasenstein tweet?
Well, it's something I'm getting kind of annoyed by. You know how everyone's talking with the deportation numbers how they're low, which it's true. The deportation numbers are, I think they said it was 200,000 or something, 150,000. What was it again?
It's a low number. It's over 100 grand, but I don't know how much more than that.
So, there was somebody that brought this up, and I've been thinking more about this because everyone's saying, well, Obama deported. How many do they claim he deported? What was it again? Freaking like 20 million or whatever. Like, I don't know at this point. What if they claim he deported?
Like, it was like 11 or 12 million illegals or something like that.
Well, someone explained this. Somebody on Twitter found a good explanation of this. Basically, the deportation numbers under Obama are bullshit. Guys, Trump's actually deporting people. We're not talking about a fake deportation like under Obama. No, it's these people are gone. We know for a fact they're gone. What Obama would do is just say, oh, these people are deported. But they just come back 5 minutes later. And that's what happens. So they did not deport anybody for real. All they did was just say, oh, this person's totally deported. And they come back 10 seconds later. And I'm getting sick of these people saying Trump's done nothing with immigration, which I will admit that he's got to do more.
He hasn't done nothing, but he should be doing way more, in my opinion.
What I will say, one of the biggest wins we've had that we don't talk about a lot because it's very procedural is Tom Homan petitioning Congress to have DHS's budget increased by about tenfold over the next 10 years. They're getting like hundreds of billions of dollars flowing into the specific department of government that handles all of these deportations. And so it's not going to immediately fix everything, but we have a very bright future ahead of us, and we're going to increase our capacity to detain and deport people. I'm very happy about that.
Breaking news.
What?
A Democrat has broken on the Maryland man issue.
Wait, what?
A Democrat has broke with the party on the Maryland man issue.
Can you send this? Please? Henry No way!
Well, yeah, he's like super pro border security. It's
Holy
not surprising.
crap. Henry Cuellar and Garcia, this is not the right person to be saying that we need to bring him back to the United States. I understand the arguments about due process, but this is not the case to fight on. Democrats should not take this issue. And now we can project that Henry Cuellar has lost the primary. You know, he's not, by the way, which he's not wrong about. I mean, of all the cases you got to fight for the due process stuff about, you decide to stand up for this guy. I think Henry Cuellar is gonna lose his primary now.
Jeffries is gonna kick his ass.
It's over now. Because, I know it's Southern Texas, you don't got that many resist slips, I get that, but the Democrat Party's so batshit nut crazy that they're probably gonna get rid of Henry Cuellar.
We need to see Vicente Gonzalez say the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. I mean, he might. Wait, is it a Trump district now? His seat?
Trump, I mean, it's
all
less
those
of
three voted Trump. Those three.
It's the least of the three, but yeah, because that one was it was drawn as a Democrat pack, and then it completely backfired.
Yeah, actually helped us. So, Ben Sinex for 5. Obama's deportations were basically just that Simpsons meme of Mo tossing the guy out of the bar, only for him to return 5 seconds later. That's a perfect comparison. That's what was going on. They just threw the guy out of the country. Well, even half the time they didn't. They're just like, oh, come back in 5 years for a court case. And they're gone forever. So.
Yeah, it was the closest Trump seat, but Trump still won it by over 5 points. So.
Yeah, people say Trump +4, +5, yeah. K-Cup for 2. Henry Cuellar's about to get hogged. Yeah, he might be well, David Hogg might get thrown in the party, which I hope he doesn't.
Oh,
but...
I mean, Hogg will probably get. I mean, even if Hogg gets fired from the DNC, Jeffries could intervene in the primary.
Yeah, and
or at the very least, maybe he could still stay somewhat neutral, but he'll probably completely back any like DOJ efforts to get rid of.
My question is, let's just say hypothetically, Henry Cuellar gets offered a deal where, listen, he gets a pardon from Trump, but he has to become a Republican. Would he accept that?
Probably.
He would probably still be. He would probably be a rhino, but he would probably accept a deal.
Well, it'd be kind of funny though. It's like he has to vote party line and everything. Like he has to vote. Like every issue has to be like a yes to Trump.
That's probably the only way he wins re-election.
Yeah, and would anyone be against that idea of him flipping parties?
I wouldn't. I'd rather have another, especially with a slim majority, especially in a seat that's rapidly trending right. I'd prefer if the popular incumbent just kind of like joined us. I wouldn't mind that.
Let's see. David Hogg probably spend $10 million on trying to primary Cuellar now. Probably. And speaking of David Hogg and money, anyone still got any updates on the Act Blue money? Because remember, they've always been a big deal about how much money they raised. I wonder why they've been very quiet on that front the past couple of months. Yeah, they're out of money.
Well, that's another angle to this. You know, no matter how long the Act Blue investigation takes, if it takes a really long time and we all get kind of sick of it, understand that being under active investigation forces corporations to behave differently, like organizations to behave differently.
From what I've heard, Act Blue's dead. Like, no matter what happens, it's dead. And Democrats, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Like they think they're going to be able to go ahead without it, or they want to use it still. I don't know. USAID. Yeah, USAID. Yeah, that's part of it, but yeah. Democrats do very suspicious things with Act Blue. And I've heard that there's going to be a bombshell dropped in a few months about that. So, very interesting. Flores would have won all her races under 2020 district lines. Flores is a shit candidate. Just get rid of her. Isn't she running again? Flores in Texas?
Yeah, she's running again, but she's running against Cuellar.
Oh my, I would support Cuellar. Polite rude guy for 2. Hispanics for Trump 2028. It'll happen. Sorry, rhinos. I don't think
What'll probably happen is if Cuellar actually does get a pardon and switches parties, she'll probably just move back to the 34th and run against Gonzalez again.
Gosh, she's awful. I mean, like, I don't.
She'll probably just stick. She'll probably just stay in the primary, but try to primary Cuellar from the right. Which, good luck with that. Obviously, not happening.
I don't like.
Although that being well, I mean, actually, Texas still is. Texas has open primary, so
yeah,
I guess Cuellar will probably still win. Yeah.
I don't like Flores because she's pro amnesty. Yeah, I remember that. I got blocked because of it. I said like, "Hey, she's pro amnesty." She blocked me. Which it's true.
Oh, and speaking of people running several times in a row. Well,
who's running now?
We got might be running, but Beto.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I think Beto basically said that if the people wanted him to run for Senate, and he would.
Oh my god! It's like the meme from SpongeBob where it's like the old guy keeps getting beat up. It's like, how many times do we want to teach you this, old man? That's what it is. I mean, this is what, his 4th run? 5th?
Yeah, it'd be his 4th. Yeah, 4th.
Okay, 2018.
Well,
2020.
Well, 3rd in Tech. Well, yeah, 3rd in Texas, but because he did run for president as well. But yeah. So now here's the thing: you already have Colin Allred, who has said that he would probably run for Senate. So my guess is what's going to happen is there's probably going to be a deal between the two. I think Beto's going to run for something again. He can't go. He can't go an election cycle without. Well, he missed 24, but I guess he
He's
didn't
just
want to
a
go for real.
perennial candidate now. He's a perennial candidate for midterms. That's what I think he's
Yeah,
going
but
to be.
the thing is, though, he is the king of the Texas Democrats.
All right.
He is their king. So he will win whatever primary he runs in. So what'll probably happen is I think he might make a deal with Allred to where one of them goes for governor, the other goes for Senate. Because I think Castro was, I think there was a report that Castro was going to run for governor, but he could just opt out. Julian, I think that's what it was, or Joaquin, one of those. I think it was Joaquin actually. But if that's, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
All right, polite rude guy for 2. I support MTG for Georgia Senate. Hell no. Hell no to that. I don't care. I'm not supporting MTG.
I hope that's a troll.
SOVN for 20.
Actually, now that I think about it with Castro, if Joaquin doesn't go for governor, what I could see is, because if he was going to go for governor, Julian would probably just run for Joaquin's seat.
Great. We got to deal with one of those idiots then. We lose no matter what.
But what happens if Joaquin decides to stay in Congress and not go for governor because either Albert or Beto's going to do it, Julian could run as a Democrat in the 28th against either Cuellar, either primary, not Cuellar, or whatever, or even if Cuellar switches parties, still running against him. Because my guess is Castro, after whatever Cuellar said about Mr. Maryland Man, he's probably going to get a primary challenger.
Legal action.
All right. SOVN for 27. Pam Bondi being a good little fraud. No news on Epstein. That's valid concern. American Art for 10. Breaking. PepsiCo is rushing to replace artificial colors with natural ingredients across all of its brands. I saw that. Yeah. So it's including Doritos, Lay's, and Cheetos. This comes after RFK Jr.'s banned artificial dyes. Yeah, it's actually happening. We're actually getting news on that. So
it's like continuing on what I was going to say. In the end, you probably would see Beto go for Senate and Albright go for governor.
Yeah. But yeah, so it looks like companies are actually adhering to RFK's thing, which I thought people were saying that the RFK thing was insane, that no one could do that. They had to have these artificial crap in it. I thought that was the argument.
No. And if you go and you look, I actually found this before we started. There's like a crazy amount of stuff that they're like that company PepsiCo covers. Let's see. Oh yeah, here. Brands owned by PepsiCo: 7-Up, Brisk, Lay's, Pepsi, Fritos, Ruffles, Doritos, Tostitos, Cheetos, Gatorade, Munchies, Suncrisp, Piper Crisp, Mountain Dew, Rockstar Energy drink. Like, it's like a billion different foods. There's a few more. Aunt Jemima pancake syrup.
Yeah,
all these products are gonna all these products are gonna have basically poison removed from them, which is really good.
Pepsi owns Aunt Jemima.
The syrup,
or Pearl, whatever the fuck they're calling it now. Aunt Jemima.
Yeah. Polite rude guy for 2. I'll support Kemp if he supports Trump 2028. Kemp is, anyways.
Again, Trump 2028. That's it's got to be a troll. I swear to God. Trump's not running in 2028.
Yeah, guys, I can say right now he's not going to run. He's been he's been trolling. He's not going to actually run. He doesn't want to, guys. He wants
the only way if they theoretically change the Constitution, he probably would, but that's not going to happen.
Oh yeah, but the problem is, guys, he's getting up there in age. He wants to spend time with his grandkids. So
I want to verbatim say what he said. Like, there's literally a Hill article out today, which I was reading for different reasons, but it said, "It's not something I'm looking to do. I think it would be a very hard thing to do." That is verbatim what Trump's words are on it while he was speaking with The Atlantic. By the way, the article is titled "Trump, I run the country and the world." So
the way I see it is that I think he would only run if the 22nd Amendment had never happened in the first place.
Yeah, but even that, I don't know, because he's getting up there in age, and I don't think he wants to do it again. He wants everything.
Yeah, that is true.
Here's my take. I know Trump may want to work until he drops. That might be the kind of person Donald Trump is. If he wants to work until he drops and he wants to serve his country, then make him like the United States trade representative in the next term.
Yeah,
make him like the trade representative.
My guess, what's probably going to happen? Trump's going to continue to troll. He's still going to tease a third. He's still going to tease a third term just to piss off everybody.
Oh, he'll tease a third term until he dies. That's what's going to happen. That's just Trump. He's just going to keep doing it for 20 years. I might run again. What can you do about it?
However, even when he leaves office, he's still going to be very much involved in the party.
Oh, like people are saying he's be like I don't know, like yeah, he would be. It won't be like
even when he gets into like hospice care or when he's like 95 or whatever, he's still going to probably be working.
Yeah. It's not going to be
party
like
from behind
Reagan.
the
It's not gonna be like with Reagan where it's like he's gone and it's sad. It's not gonna be like that. I hope not.
I mean, now if Trump does get dementia, then yeah, he probably will.
Oh yeah, he'll go Reagan.
He'll probably just stay out public and just transfer everything to Don Jr. or something.
All right, Hendon Hooker stand for 2. Ignore Playroom Guy at this point. Nah. Let's see. Playroom Guy for 2. He needs to run again. I'll vote Trump 2028 only. Again, like if he runs again, I'll support him. But I support Vance. I want Vance #1. That's my take. So.
I will say though, I think there is a very small chunk of the party that would probably ride in Trump the president.
Oh yeah, that's a concern. But if they tell him to vote Vance, they'll vote Vance. Craig mode for 2. Pepsi owns Aunt Jemima. Jemima. Oh my gosh.
Jemima.
Thanks.
Well,
Thank you.
Pearl Milling Company.
Yeah. Was it slavery banned? Oh gosh. Mike for 2. Playroom Guy's a dumb agent, by the way. All right, but anyways, so before we end the stream, guys, I do want to talk about the conclave because we got some updates on that. So it's gonna be May 7th, I think it is. I think they said announced May 7th.
Yeah,
so,
May 7th.
Playroom Guy.
Yeah,
because
I think they're still in mourning period. So
yeah, Playroom Guy for 2. Call me a dem is crazy take. But yeah, so anyways, there was a tweet that El Carbo posted yesterday, or actually this morning, I should say, and I think John, you posted
El Carbo's brought up.
Yeah, I posted up a little bit above it. Yeah.
So listen, this is
about the makeup of the conclave.
No, it's about like a very close advisor to Pope Francis. He's basically saying we're getting a conservative pope. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the makeup of the conclave, I think it's still somewhat mixed. So
it's like a majority conservative, like a chunk of it's like centrist, and like the rest liberal. The problem for the liberals is they're not even a third. The conservatives have a little leverage here.
If they need a supermajority to elect a pope?
Yeah, they need a supermajority. So we're gonna get somebody more to the right of Francis. A matter of if it's like
I'll just be frank. I do not think it's. I mean, as much as I want Sarah, it's not gonna be Sarah. I do not expect that at all.
My guess is to be Erdo or Pizza.
Erdo, I think I've heard can probably work with like the centrists.
Erdo's actually really liked by the centrists. Yeah. So
if he's liked by the centrists, he will probably be like the most realistic conservative option for pope.
Well, yeah, like looking at all these people talking about it, I mean, it doesn't equate to reality, right? But like we hear a bunch of this like noise, Cardinal Dolan, and then now this Cardinal Cesarni, like they're all acting like this Cardinal Cesarni in this post. He says it's a New York Times article, by the way.
Of course.
He said, "How would you name the wrong track for the conclave?" What he's worried about, and he says, I would say that the idea is that unity is the priority. So basically the Pope Francis guy is saying, no, we can't focus on unity. If you focus on unity, you'll reject Pope Francis.
Yeah. By the way, I think Tagle is probably the front runner for like the liberal side, but I don't think
he screwed himself. He shot himself in the foot big time. So
I heard that. I heard that Tagle had like fallen out of Tagle had fallen out of good graces with like Francis's people.
Yeah, Francis people that hate his guts now. But now there's like a thing that happened where like he did a really cringy thing, and like people are saying it's like a heresy.
He's saying imagine.
Yeah, it's he fucked himself.
Now I heard he didn't actually sing Imagine There's No Heaven, but
yeah, but like it was a bad look, and then the moderates don't even like him anymore. Tagle's not gonna be a pope now. It's not gonna be a liberal at this point. The liberals, even Dolan is saying we need a more conservative guy. So
just like heads up for anybody trying to become pope in the chat, do not sing Imagine by John Lennon in public. I know you may like it, it may be catchy, but don't sing John Lennon's
like
Imagine.
even if they sing like the I guess the accepted, like I guess the Christian acceptable version where they don't sing Imagine There's No Heaven.
All right. Some super chats read before we continue. American Nerd for 3 or 5. Instead of running for a third term, how about Trump pull Napoleon or Palpatine to declare himself Emperor of America? I'm kidding, of course. He's not going to. That would be funny. Mike for 2.
Baron will.
Sarah for Pope. That's real. Sarah for Pope 2025. I want Sarah, but it's not going to be him. There's a chance, though. There's a chance. American Nerd for 2. Who's better, Pope Cyril or Pope Pizza? Oh, Pope Cyril, easily. But Pope Pizza's pretty good.
I think Erdo's probably still the most realistic option. Yeah.
Basically, the difference between Pope Cyril and Pope Pizza is you're getting a conservative guy. Just Pope Cyril is like the most conservative guy we could pick. That even has a chance of winning.
Like Clarence Thomas level.
Yeah, he would be our Clarence Thomas. And people call him a DI hire already. I hate these people. I freaking hate these people so much.
Well, those are just like the pseudo boomers that think that Catholicism is all a bunch of pedophiles and stuff. Anyways, I have class. I gotta go.
All right, see ya. K-Cup for 2. The last footage of Reagan near the end is sad. Oh yeah, that when he's like walking up the stairs. Yeah, that's bad.
I just have a question. Who do you guys think will be the next pope? I'm not following it as closely.
I'm hoping for. I think it's gonna be Erdo.
Erdo.
Well, I mean, I would. Yeah. He's from Hungary. He's a conservative leaning guy. I like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't understand the inner machinations of these things, but all of the outside chatter from these cardinals that are participating in the process makes us think they're going to hire a conservative candidate. Yeah. They're gonna put a conservative candidate up there, which would be really good for everybody, be good for the country, be good for the world. If they did that.
There's only 2 things I really care about. Well, 3 things. One, to get the finances in order in the Vatican. That was Francis's biggest mess. It's a disaster. The Vatican right now, they have no money. It's a joke. Number 2 is bring back the drip. Like, just bring back the original drip.
Bring back the drip.
I mean, serious. Like, I'm sorry. I understand what he was trying to do, but come on. The drip we had just 20 years ago was fantastic. It's like, just go back to that. And number 3, of course, lighting up the restrictions on the TLM. So that's my takes. Anyways, Henry Hooker stand for 5. Why would a candidate for the Pope sing the communist atheist anthem? Well, because Tegel sucks. He's literally like a leftist. So, again, I've said before, he's the only Pope that would make you question everything. But it's not gonna be him, thankfully. But what drip? Just look up what popes used to wear, like, even 20 years ago with Benedict and stuff.
Pope Francis has dressed himself very plainly, and the garb, like, honestly, like, my priest dress is better than Pope Francis on some days. And that's a lot of Catholics' experience, and the honest to goodness truth about it is that if you go back into Scripture, go into the Gospels and read about the woman using the expensive perfumes to wash Christ with. Imagine like that. Go back to that passage and reflect on what exactly is going on there, because what that passage actually means is that, you will have the poor, you will have the needy, they will always be with you. But Christ, he is with you. He is your salvation. He is everything. And so if you want to have a beautifully adorned church, if you want to spend a lot of money on decorations, if you want to spend money on glorifying God's presence in the world through the church, then that is actually a good thing to do. It's a giant signpost that points everybody to the church and to God. And so it's actually a really good thing for popes to dress well, because that's what we're trying to do. Like, the whole point is we're trying to reach up towards God. We can never reach it without his cooperation. We can't ever reach it on our own merit, but we do try to reach up towards God, and that's what we try to do when we adorn the Pope with all of these great dresses.
Let's see. If the Filipino becomes Pope, I might convert to a Protestant church. Hell no. Guys, listen, I have nothing against Protestants themselves, but the last, couple days on Twitter has been a joke with some of these evangelicals. Nothing against evangelicals, but, come on, guys. Listen, just go look it up. Look up what they're saying about, Mary. That's all I gotta say. These people are nuts. It's really like heresies from the 4th century. They're still pushing. Great.
It doesn't really matter what you think about church history, but you have to understand that some of these ideas that people are saying, they were refuted logically 1800, 1700, 1600 years ago. It's really ridiculous that we have to keep on resurging, talking about these over and over again. It's a testament to just the failures of Protestant catechism. There's failures in Catholic catechism, deep failures in Catholic catechism today, but Protestants don't even know what they believe. Just please just learn what you actually believe. That's what I tell everybody. It's what I say every single time we talk about this. Just go actually learn what you believe.
Now, again,
please.
Not every Protestant's like that. I should be clear. It just, some of these people, they have good intentions, but it's just, you have to look into it more. So, let's see, which Mary? The Mother of God. I mean, go look at what they're saying. They're saying, no, actually, that's wrong. This is actually a heresy. It's like, no, they decided that, like, in I forgot which council it was. It's the first one, I think. I don't know. It's stupid. It's dumb. Admittedly, as a Protestant, I do not understand the hate for Mary. She's literally the mother of our Savior. I don't get it either. I don't. To this day, I don't get it. But yeah, they sorted this stuff out 2,000 years ago, and we're still complaining about it. They're actually saying that Mary's not even the mother of the Son of God. That is blasphemy. Yeah, I mean, they're saying crazy stuff that was debunked 2,000 years ago. But anyways, I thoroughly agree the Virgin Mary is the mother of Jesus. Oh, no, because now they're saying no and not actually. No.
All right, so the heresy of Nestorianism, which was corrected by the Council of Ephesus in the early 5th century, it was the Third Ecumenical Council. Basically, what it said was there was these people, the heretics, that were saying that Mary is only the mother of Jesus of Nazareth, which means like the human being Jesus of Nazareth. She's not the mother of God. And what this did was that it actually divided Christ into two persons. There's Christ who is God, the actual Son of the Father, and then there's this human guy called Jesus of Nazareth. And so they were creating two separate Jesuses, two separate Christs that they were believing in and worshiping. They were actually only worshiping the God one. And this is a complete incoherence. We believe that the incarnation by the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary created one Christ Jesus, one person, not two people, and that was rejected 1,600 years ago. Yeah. That was the Council of Ephesus. So any of these Protestants going back, look, bare minimum, Protestants are supposed to believe in Chalcedonian theology. Chalcedonian Christology goes back to the Fourth Ecumenical Council, Chalcedon 451 AD. So if they're rejecting the Third Ecumenical Council, then they don't believe in the Fourth Ecumenical Council because it's this kind of thing that stacks on top of itself.
It's heretical religion.
It's heretical by the standards of the Protestant reformers of the 16th century. It is ridiculous. It is absurd. Please stop.
Just go look at what Martin Luther said about Mary. Just go look it up if anyone's curious. Just go right ahead.
You are becoming heretic. Like, let me repeat that. These people that say these things, oh, well, Mary is only the mom of Jesus of Nazareth, not of Christ God. When you say that, you are heretics in the eyes of Martin Luther, John Calvin, Zwingli, all those people that started the Protestant Reformation. You are heretics to them. Yeah. Please reflect on that.
Now, of course, look, there's some denominations they have different terminology for it, but it's like if you're just outright denying that, you're a heretic. So,
you are a heretic by several standards.
K-Cup for 2. Didn't St. Nicholas punch somebody over this? Yeah, he did.
That was the First Ecumenical Council.
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah, he punched
Christ's divinity.
Yeah. So guy's like, no, not actually. I forgot who it was. Who was that again? It was
Arius.
Yeah. That's right. Chris Creator for 10. As a Protestant / Baptist, we know that what we believe in, Jesus never left anyone as viceroy on earth when he ascended. And Mary is Jesus' mother, but that's it. She's not to be venerated. No comment. Because I can, anyways.
Again, it's just completely tangential, Chris, to the conversation. We understand Protestants don't believe in veneration. That's the Seventh Ecumenical Council, Nicaea II, that you're rejecting. You're not rejecting the Third Ecumenical Council, which is what we're talking about. So please, I understand, like, you're doing your best to express your opinions. I'm just asking you to try harder and to actually read books.
Yeah, again, like, I'm not saying, like, you'd have to convert to Catholicism. I'm just saying, read the councils. Read what the Protestant Reformation would try and push.
If you go to the 39 Articles of Anglicanism and you go to a conservative Anglican parish, They are going to accept the first 4 ecumenical councils. They are going to accept the Christology of the 5th, 6th, and 7th ecumenical councils, but then they're going to have contentions with the last 3 of them in regards to specific duties, specific obligations, specific canons.
Yeah.
That is the problem. So if you are a Protestant in the 16th, in the sense of what the actual people that started the Protestant movement believed, you're going to be closer to that. You're going to be closer. You bare minimum, you accept the first 4 councils. If you want to have a big conversation about Nicaea II, I look, Calvin's Institutes are there. You can read them. That's the criticism of Nicaea II. I already understand the source material, but you don't, and that's the problem. You don't even know your own arguments. Just read your own freaking arguments, please.
Yeah. Henry Hooker stand for 5. Call me an idiot, but did the Bible ever explain Jesus' childhood and how he grew up? There's like 1 or 2 stories, but that's it.
If you go to the first couple chapters of Luke, that's the most material that you're going to get from it. In there, and of course, because we believe in extra biblical traditions, because there's nothing in the Bible that says just to believe what the Bible says. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of us rely on extra material like the Proto-Evangelion of James. There's material in the Proto-Evangelion of James that we use to help understand many things about early Christ's life. But the starting chapters of Luke, if you're looking for scripture, just read like the first 3 or 4 chapters of Luke.
Yeah, it's not much, but we got like you said, there's some stuff you could read. Let's see. Is this just a semantics issue? Catholics want to venerate Mary, but Protestants want to worship Mary. It just people purposely interpret what veneration is.
Right. So words and meanings have changed drastically over time. And in the English language, we started having this contention with the way that the English language was translating the scripture from Latin. And what it ended up being was a theological contention of what the words prayer and worship mean. For many Protestants, prayer equals worship. Prayer is worship. Prayer, like the 2 things are the same thing. But when you go into the actual root words that are being used in Scripture, pray, and if you look in Old English, when someone says pray tell, that's not them asking you to worship them. When someone says pray tell, they're saying answer me. Or, and so the general phrase prayer, even in Old English, but in the Scripture, in the original languages that the Bible is written in, it means to ask, to plead. It was something you did to people in real life. It was something you did to human beings and kings and judges and other people. You pleaded to them. And so prayer and pleading have this, synchronicity with them. And so, but to the Protestants, when they were translating the Bible, they started thinking, oh, well, no, prayer just means worship. Prayer is worship. Prayer, worship, prayer, worship. The word association screwed them over in the head. And so you can't pray to people, you can't pray to Mary in Protestant theology because it's worship. And so, and they don't believe that veneration is like a different thing. They think veneration is also worship, that there's no meaningful distinction between veneration and worship, and that it's like a fake category made up by Latins. But then you actually go and read the Old Testament, and you look how people dealt with kings, and you look how people dealt with princes and everything else. Oh, there was veneration everywhere. There was veneration for relics. There was veneration for humans. There was venerations for people you were just begging to pray for you. Like that was the Old Testament. And I'm Orthodox, and that's how I'm going to talk about it. You can disagree with me, but it's a language issue. We're having a language contention. You think prayer equals worship. You think veneration equals worship. And there's a more nuanced position from the actual real life historical churches that actually taught from Christ's apostolic deposit. Okay?
Tesser's Dunn has been a member for 17 months. Carney's honestly better than the Norn Nerd Peer. I won't go that far. It's not that good. Protestant is Jesus alone and never ancestor to God. That's it.
How's it going, dude?
Good. Peter was never the first pope either. What does the name Peter mean again? What's the name of Peter? What's the meaning of that?
And there is a really crazy thing too about what he just said. Like some Protestants, it's not all of them, but certain denominations take it so extreme. You're not allowed to pray to the Holy Spirit. You're not allowed to, you can only pray in Jesus's name. That is actually a theological position of several Protestant denominations, is that you're not allowed to pray to anybody but Jesus because he is the door, as John chapter 10 illustrates.
But it's the Trinity. Wait, are you serious?
Yes, I am dead serious. And again, it's like one of these things is like, well, how like actually pedantic are you going to be with what Scripture says? And that really, where you land on the pedantic levels of a modern English translation of ancient Greek and ancient Aramaic and Hebrew and everything, like that changes how you interpret Scripture. Is basically how pedantic are you with the language and the wording.
As a Methodist, I do wish that Protestant churches would worship God in a meaningful way with art, music, architecture in the ways that Catholics and Orthodox do. Yeah, I mean, like, I understand, like, you don't want to have, you don't want idols and stuff. That's one thing, but just having, like, a blank room with, like, a cross in the middle, it's like, really?
Yeah, it's disgusting and it's barren. And one thing I'll say, you go into the traditions, go into the Anglo traditions of the church, go to the Iberian traditions of the church, go into these places where, you know, your ancestors worshipped, and maybe even as Protestants, they had beautiful architecture, they had beautiful art, they had beautiful stained glass, they had all of these traditions that were even separate from the Latin tradition in some ways. And that there was a lot of Latinization in Western Europe, but they still had separate artistic traditions that have been completely blotted out by these like movements and transitions. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible, and it just needs to go away because we need beauty. We need beauty in our lives.
It was, guys. The point of the Reformation was not to get rid of everything and, you know, have a blank church. That was never the point. It was to reform. It's in the name, to reform the church. That's the whole point. It wasn't to replace everything and, you know, do what, I don't know what you call it now. It's just dumb. SOVN for 65. Sad the Cardinal of Stockholm rolled himself out. He had a better position was in Apostolo, just a much more religiously significant location. I don't know who that is, but I'm still sticking with Pope's Pizza. So, why do you think Jehovah's Witnesses is so rejected? Oh, because they reject the Trinity. So,
well, yeah, like on a theological basis, or is he talking about like in general? Is he like talking about why
in
people
general,
are rejected?
just because they're freaking? I'm sorry, they're lonely. They're nuts. I'm sorry. It's
they do run around and treat everybody like a-holes. I understand, like, Jehovah's Witnesses are these people, again, who have a pedantic fixation on a specific piece of scripture in the book of Revelation, John's Apocalypse. And it says basically, if you do the math about who's being saved, who the elect are in the book of Revelation, you get to this number of 144,000. The Jehovah's Witnesses believe only 144,000 people on planet Earth will be saved. The Catholic Church doesn't believe that. The Orthodox Church doesn't believe that. Hardly nobody believes that, but the Jehovah's Witnesses believe it. And so they have this exclusive club where only a few people get saved, and you have to join it. And to join it, you have to believe only a few people get saved. And if you like argue about it and be like, well, wait a second, maybe like the whole, like the numbering in John's Apocalypse, maybe that was like numerology, maybe it wasn't literal like numbers, because, you know, Hebrews, you know, the Jewish people are kind of funny with their numbers sometimes, and I'm not saying that as a joke, I'm saying it as just like reality. Like sometimes they try to express themselves through numbers in an exaggerative manner. And that's genuinely something that happens in the Old Testament. And so they're like, well, wait, maybe this is happening in the New Testament. And Jehovah's Witnesses are like, no, only 144,000 people will be saved.
How many Jehovah's Witnesses are there? I'm actually curious. Hold on.
Probably more than
Let's see
144,000.
How many Jehovah's Witnesses? I'm going to laugh if it's like 10 million.
I thought they knock on doors to like compete. Like, and like the people, if you knock more doors,
there's 9 million worldwide.
There's 9 million, bro.
Don't they think that like the more people they convert, the more likely they are to get one of those spots? Like, isn't that?
Yes.
So they're not doing it to help other people. They're just saying, "Oh, join the church quick, so I can be saved."
Yeah, that's why.
That seems like that kind of defeats the purpose of Christianity, doesn't it? That seems kind of defeat.
Well, it rejects one of the fundamental premises we get from Scripture, which is that God came to save all of humanity. Will all of humanity be saved? Are we universalists? No. But we believe it is God's will for all to be saved, and we believe second and third order consequences are allowed to exist that prevent all people from being saved.
Yeah.
But it is God's will that all men be saved. And so that is Jehovah's Witnesses reject a cornerstone of the gospel. so people don't like them. And like, even when Mormons, like, they have really crazy theology, but like Mormons they're just nicer human beings to be around. You want a Mormon neighbor because the Mormon neighbor is going to treat you very well. The Mormon neighbor is going to be really good to you.
They're
That's why
nice.
people like living in Utah.
Yeah.
But the Jehovah's Witnesses are the opposite. They're just a-holes on the front.
For real though, like Mormons are probably the best neighbors to have.
Oh yeah, because Mormons, like, they're like, again, their theology's wacky. I mean, they actually say there's 3 different gods, and like you become a god of a planet.
Dude, it's proto Scientology.
Yeah,
that's the only way
a
I
good
can
comparison
describe
of it.
Mormonism.
But it's like, at least with Mormons, like, they're trying to convert you not because, oh, I want to be saved. It's like, no, because they want to spread the word of God. That's their purpose. Like, to be nice people. That's the whole point. Not, oh yeah, if you don't join my cult over here in this basement over here, you're gonna go die in hell, and I need you to join the church so I can be saved. Which what? So they're basically competing with each other then. It's like 9 million idiots, they're all competing with each other.
They're all door knocking to try to get touched.
SLVN for 2070s. John Paul II guy made Colonel by Francis. Okay, that's good. K-Cup for 2. Make a friend, bring a friend to Christ. Yeah. Don't do it for personal reasons like, oh, if I convert 15 people, I'm going to heaven. That's not how that works, by the way, but what if we mix all the denominations into one thing? That would never happen. That's never going to happen.
That doesn't look. You have to understand that the reason denominations exist is because they believe things that are in direct contention with one another. And sometimes, like, things that different denominations believe, they stop making sense the second you change 1 or 2 beliefs. So that's the thing. And so, like, that's one of the reasons why, like, Calvinists, people that believe in the Institutes of Calvin, why they have to be anti-art, anti-icons, anti all these things. Because if they even just accept the premise of it existing, then all these other beliefs, like the veneration and everything else, it falls apart if they don't hold a hard line against iconography. So you ever wonder, like, the beliefs do have to actually meld together. Like, beliefs don't just magically work. You can't just believe whatever you want. Like, beliefs inform each other. And so you have to have a coherent network of beliefs. And that's what Calvinists try to do. They try to create a string of logic with what they believe.
Before we continue with that, Damian Lillard has been he's actually with Achilles. Damn. Yeah, for those that don't know, Bucks point guard Damian Lillard, who I'm a big fan of the Bucks. He's one of our best players, our second best player, top 75 player. Yeah, torn his left Achilles. Great. Our season's already done, but yeah, that killed it. Man, that sucks. Yeah, great. The Bucks are cooked. Let's see. People that are willing to put in effort to be saved will be saved. Let's see. Joseph Smith is a 17th century equivalent of spamming your email with boner pills. You're not wrong. I mean, like, the way he found, like, the magical gold plates, like a hole or something, it's just insane.
Talked about the Firestorm's doing a Michigan rally tomorrow.
Yeah, he's doing a rally in Michigan, so.
I wonder if Mike Rogers' endorsement incoming.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that Calvinists have suffered their tone over the centuries, but they're still very strict. Oh yeah, they have some. Again, nothing against Calvinists, but they have some. Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
Well, yeah.
So
the original position of Calvinists was iconoclasm, which is means literally break icons.
Yeah,
and this is a repeat of a heresy that was in the 7th, 8th centuries that was soundly defeated in the 9th century permanently. And they brought it back several centuries later, and it meant, like, they went around breaking icons. Go look at what Calvinists were up to in France. People love to make a big deal about how many Calvinists were killed in France, but look what the Calvinists were doing to upset the French people in the first place. Yeah. That's a really important thing. People, you know how, like, you look at some people today and you think they're anarchists, that they want to destroy all our statues, that they are, like, literally anti-civilization. French people looked at Calvinists and they were like, these people are anti-civilization. They just want things to stop existing. So Calvinists were viewed as, like, anarchists, and Anabaptists too were viewed as anarchists in the early times.
Instead of tearing Anabaptists were because they were instead of tearing down statues because they were racist or whatever, they were tearing them down because they thought they were satanic or whatever.
Yeah, because they thought that they were trying to take the place of God. That was the premise of it.
Yeah.
And that And so that was the whole thing at the start. Over the centuries, that position, because of new evidence that's been unearthed, and as well as better argumentation, it's become untenable to be an iconoclast. And so most Calvinists will describe themselves, if you go to Reformed, they will call themselves an aniconist. And what that means is that aniconism is this belief that you can have decorations and you can believe in like funny, cute art things. But you have to be extremely wary of ever using art in a pedagogical sense, which is in a teaching sense, like art that teaches, and you cannot use them in worship at all. Like they cannot be in any place when you're worshiping. You just can't use them. So yeah, that's aniconism. That's the new position.
Let's see here. American Nerd for 3. Didn't the Southport guys say Mormons were nice? Yeah, because they are. They're nice people, but just their theology sucks. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Your theology is awful. It's built on nothing. It's built on bullshit. But all right.
If you want to deep dive, one of my favorite guys, Sarah from Hamilton, you may need to slow down his videos because he speaks quickly and he has a lot to say. But if you go to Sarah from Hamilton's channel, he has a lot of content on Mormonism, like really in-depth content on Mormonism, so you can like learn just how insane what it is they believe happened.
All right.
I recommend that channel.
So anyways, folks, I think that's it for the stream. We talked a lot of theology because that was kind of the conclave stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting what happens in Canada tonight. Hopefully the Conservatives win, but yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Rap. If somehow the Conservatives end up doing like super well early in the night, can you do like an emergency stream?
I don't think so. I don't wanna stream it.
You know, the odds of this, that's like impossible. But if it happens, like we got to do it. It won't. It won't happen. But if it does, we might have to.
All right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, folks, I think we're on the stream here. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share it with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Yeah, we'll see you guys next stream, wherever you see us at. Godspeed.
We'll be back tomorrow to cover the results of Canada.
Yeah, Canada, you better vote Conservative.
They're probably not. They're gonna vote for Carney, and then Carney's gonna like double down on Trudeau's policy.
Oh yeah, like even worse.
Yeah, I mean Canada's gonna, it's not gonna look good in 10 years, to say the least.
We'll see you guys next stream. See you guys next stream.
Adios.